Welcome back, everyone. 2 games done for in Corbeck. We've got the last 2 of the day, and they should be pretty special. Both of them having Pro League teams up against T2 talent. In fact, the top 2 Challenger League teams from our finals. And we're starting with Astralis versus Reality TV.
Yeah, these are heavy-hitting matches here at the end of the day, Crow. I think that everybody knows, right, the names of these teams. If you follow T2 Siege, you follow T1 Siege, you've heard of them all before. Astralis versus RTV, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. I think I've been kind of looking forward to see how this plays out because both these teams had a little bit of a battle on day one, right? 7 and 5, I think, was the score for both of them coming into this. So neither of them had a particularly easy road, and now they're going in against one another. And I'm genuinely not sure who's going to come out on top.
Neither do I. I went with the underdog last game with Wichita Wolves, and JJ let me down. Gotta say, it looked like they had a pretty good shot. And I'm going with the underdog again. I think Reality TV is going to take this. And I'll explain why in just a sec. We can take a look at Reality TV's roster. The 5 players that I think are going to end up winning this game. It's Mr. B, Giddy, Valor, Tristan, and Hat. The average rating at a 1.03. Definitely solid. There were some standout players and a couple lagging behind in their previous game that they won, but it was still a really good effort. And the Reality TV adaptation, one of their strengths, definitely came out in that bank game with those Monty pushes we saw from Mr. B upstairs, especially being a highlight. So it's good to see that even though Valor and Hat are brand new to this team, and they might be lacking in some chemistry with the advent of Packer and Silent onto Parabellum, they still have those strengths that we know them for.
Yeah, I think that you made a really good point about the adaptability. There was some good aggression there, too, in a lot of their match, right? I loved the changing over to the Montaigne. I thought that was very creative, and I thought it really fit into their playstyle quite well. And like you said, I mean, generally consistent performance. The ones that stood out, Tristan, Mr. B, Hat, they all had really good matches. But let's take a look at Tristan, who was, I think, probably the standout player, the true champion of this side. I mean, you see the KD right there, 14 and 8, a spectacular quite a spectacular job overall. I was going to add, too, just a funny stat. Most kills on the team and the highest KD, only the lowest headshot percentage, though, of the whole squad at 25%. So must just average out over the bigger number. But, his body shot bandit, that's fine. He got the kills. He did what he needed to do, and he had a very good survivability as well. I don't think it's reflected on this score sheet, but he did a really good job of staying alive and just being a linchpin player for the squad.
Yeah, his survival actually being 33%. So in a third of rounds, he was still up. And Mr. B and Valor even higher. So you look at that average rating, you see it's 1.03. But I mean, and not to hate on him, because Giddy knows I love him. Giddy's rating is kind of dragging that down a bit. Giddy had a 0.48. Everyone else on the team was at a 1.07 or higher. So even though Giddy wasn't doing great, he also didn't need to because everyone else from Reality TV was picking up the slack. And their opponents are Astralis. You know them, you love them. In the lobby, they're going to be going by different names, but we can settle that whole conundrum after. Forest, Shuttle, Iconic, and J90, of course, the returning members, benching DP Fire, bringing in Spiff. Now, if we can highlight, he's not our highlight player, but if I can focus on Spiff real quick. This guy is nasty. We call him Spiff Don't Whiff as an endgame for a reason. He was on that Aerial Rise Academy that dominated T3 for so long. He was an instrumental part of that. But his first game on Bank definitely didn't reflect it. He only went 4 and 9, lowest rated player on the team, and I'm hoping he's going to have a bounce back day today.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. Actually, 3 of these players didn't break, as far as I'm aware, even KD ratio in this match, which I thought was kind of interesting. That was Spiff and Forest and Iconic, who played an awful lot of Dokkaebi, actually. Forest did put up 4 opening kills, though, across the round, so a pretty solid opening player, got a good start off on the right foot. But let's talk about the strongest player on the team, the real highlight of their last match, and that's Shuttle, who was incredibly good. got a ton of kills, 12 and 5, was definitely the standout player from the group. And we were just talking about survivability stat not that long ago. Shuttle's survivability was 58% in this match against 6K, that's really good. That means in more than 50% of rounds, he was surviving until the end. And that's the kind of person you want to have as a pillar of reliability for the rest of the squad, right? That's the guy you want to build around as a team.
Especially against a team like Six Karma, who are so aggressive. You know, Mexican Pro League, we always talk about, oh, the LATAM style, blah, blah, blah. But we've seen Six Karma, you know, they are aggressive. They kind of have that same LG kind of mentality where they know that at some point they got to go in. Very rarely do we see a team like LG or 6K stall out, because at the end of the day, you know, if they're stuck, they're just gonna say YOLO, just walk into sight and take those frags. And I think that's gonna be one of the strengths that Reality TV has, even though they don't have, and I'm going to keep hammering this point, even though they don't have Gavini anymore, someone like Valor, who performed admirably in their game last week, I think is going to help them bring that energy to Astralis.
You know, it's interesting. I was looking at the two games and the 7-5s, and I was thinking Reality TV, they had a better overall performance as a squad. The kill distribution was more even. They were pretty solid. Like you mentioned, it was Giddy was the only like low point really in the roster. But I do think the difference in opponents does matter quite a bit. Investigation File, I mean, I'm not going to dump on them. Like, they're a perfectly adequate team, but I don't think that they're as good as 6K. So the fact that Astralis had to battle 6K to a 7-5 may be not as big an issue as we would think when it comes to comparing these two teams. And I am genuinely thinking that Astralis will walk away with the win here, largely just because I feel like, the survivability of Shuttle, the ability to kind of bring around their confidence in their talking. And a lot of those rounds, if you go back and watch the ones that Astralis lost, were largely kind of overconfidence plays. Like, there was a couple awkward window jump outs, I think, in there. There was one where they just tried to drop a hatch on bank and rush in, and they got, cut apart right next to the vault, that kind of stuff. And that's something that I think these pro teams have to moderate a little bit, right? When they're playing at SCS. And if they can moderate that, I think they'll probably, they'll do great.
Speaking of moderate, we'll see where we go for the map bans. Are we going to get another aggressive map? Are we going to go to home turf for one of these teams? Oregon and Villa, Reality TV don't want to touch Astralis. Of course, they're structured. They have more returning players. You don't want to bring them to a really structured map like either of those two, or Clubhouse, Sky, Bank, Cafe, Theme, all being taken up by Astralis. We end up on Border. That's an interesting one. Now, I can't speak to Astralis' stats on this map because I unfortunately didn't catch a lot of NAL. However, I can speak on Reality TV. They won this map against none other than LG 7-3 this past CL stage. They dominated.
Wow, that's a mighty statistic right there, and something that they're definitely gonna want to keep track of. Border is an interesting matchup between these two teams. I do have a feeling that maybe it favors Astralis a little bit more, just because it's a harder map. I think we can both agree that it's a really challenging map for them to play around. But let's take a look at our predictions. We like to go back to it every time we can see how we're doing there. You're starting ahead of me today, by the way. You're down in my level now. I don't know how you should feel about that.
I'm telling you, JJ, listen, my philosophy whenever it comes to predictions is when I predict a team and they end up losing, it's because they trolled me. Like, what can I say? I thought Wichita Bulls were going to win. They started off strong, and then they trolled me. So nothing much I can do about that. But we're going to hear real quick. We're going to get justification for why Reality TV is going to win, not only this game, but the whole league. From the man, the myth, the legend, the least troll coach I know, Eric Fettuccini.
Yeah, I'm Fett. I'm coach for Reality TV. I think we're just going to roll them, I want to be completely honest. All the team, I remember watching last year's interviews and they were just like, oh yeah, amateur teams play like aggressive. And I think like if you like chalk amateur teams to play different, better in any way, then you just suck and you're old and you get with the times. If we lose to amateur team, like we suck. That's just how it's going to be. Definitely it's way different, right? Because you had like Gavin, which is a guy that like fight everything, and Packer, which is a guy that outsmarting type of player, like really another vocality in the team. People say like, oh, they treat us like the same team, but we're a really, really different team now, and we need to just like adapt and mold ourselves to fit these new players. That's really it. It's a completely new system. We're going to be playing completely different strats, different types of strats, and yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's going to be a fun challenge to see if we can rise above. Okay, so a lot of these teams suck, right? Six Karma sucks, College Connoisseurs suck, S2 sucks, HK Rebels suck, Lycus suck, Eclectic sucks. Is that JJ's team? JJ sucks. AeroCAD, they're alright. So like obviously we can roll those guys, but I'm gonna call it like a bigger team like Luminosity Gaming. Like we own those guys. Yeah, I don't think has Mr. B ever lost to those guys? I don't know. But yeah, we own those guys. Wafer, you suck. Eddie, you suck. Splash, you suck. Yeah, that's the one. To say like they play in this league, they're Astralis. I really like watching Call Out go to the league and make such a big impact. He paved the way for showing that a coach can make such an impact, like turn a team completely around. So yeah, definitely Astralis, and I'm really excited to play them because I own Spiff. He's my son. Definitely Giddy. I think people hate on Giddy a lot, but I think it's very hard to see. Like every time we've had to practice or like play without Giddy, noticeably way worse, like extremely worse than like we are. And like he's just such a good backbone player that no one ever really notices what he does for like the team. Like the fact that he's been like top 15 rated for like every CL stage in a row, it's kind of a crime that people are allowed to hate on him. But you know, he's gonna prove himself and get his chance, I think. Mr. B obviously got a bunch of shots, and obviously he kind of fell short of his own expectations. He kind of like hyped, like he kind of like stressed himself way too much for these PL tracks, and I think now that he's had that like taste of like he's gonna definitely know how to go about things more, especially like because the PL teams gave him feedback, and now he's able to like work so hard on himself. So definitely Mr. B, obviously. I think Tristan's on the rise up. I think although he has some kinks, his gun skill is just incredible. I think everyone on the team can prove to everyone else that they're going to be PL ready if we perform to how we want to perform. I think pistachio and like pecan butter. I think if you like chocolate or cookies or cream, you're a child. But I mean, those couple of flavors are kind of good. Coffee and tea are like second place, and then like first place is like definitely pistachio, pecan butter. I kind of just like AFK in bed. There's no relaxing for me. You just watch VODs and you make prep and you just work all day long. So I've been to like Tibet before. That place is crazy. You go there, you get like low oxygen poisoning, but it's like the best place ever. It's kind of sad that like whatever's happening with the Chinese government, but yeah, Tibet's definitely like best spot, life, world. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I can't believe I AFK in bed is a real sentence spoken by a real human being. But that's Eric Fettuccini. I love that guy. Proud to call him my countryman. But you heard him, right? He looks up to Call Out. He looks up to Astralis, and he wanted the opportunity to play them. Well, here we go. And I'm not gonna lie. I do understand us picking Astralis. They're obviously the favorites. But I think reality TV might have what it takes to, at the very least, bring them to overtime.
I mean, I picked Astralis as well when it came to predictions, but hearing that it's somebody he looks up to, right? Like, this is an important match for them. These guys are up-and-comers. I think he's totally right with what he's saying right there. I would absolutely love to see an upset, even if it did damage my prediction ratio. I would just absolutely love to see it.
I would love to see it, of course, because that would bring me back up above you.
It would.
And that would be... that would be perfect. But concerning Border, right, in particular, Border's a map that, you know, in and of itself... hasn't really changed a whole lot. Like, right, they kind of reworked the bathroom site. They've got the balcony over by East now, but the map, you know, hasn't really changed that drastically. Not to the likes of, you know, the original clubhouse rework or the cafe rework or all these other reworks we've seen. But the way people play Border, I feel now is so much more intricate, I guess, if that's the right word. Because I don't know if you remember old border. Old border used to be, oh, you sit a couple to defend armory. You sit a couple guys in CC, maybe reinforce the trip wall in office, have someone play fountain. Now you have like cross map crossfires through like 3 walls and stuff like that. The one thing I'm really worried about reality TV concerning that exact point is that they might still not have the synergy to go up against an NAL level team who are going to be employing complicated crossfires like that and are definitely going to be ready for it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's something that we'll probably talk about a little bit later when we talk about Oxygen as well, is some of the adaptation that has to happen for these two T2 teams. And I think that is one of the biggest ones, right? This idea that the comms, the synergy, the communication, just the level of practice and the ability to kind of coordinate around specific strategies is always going to be lower at the T2 level. Like, as much as we want to give them credit and as much as they are deserving of credit, there is adaptation that's required. There is things that you learn when you get to the highest level of play that you just can't possibly learn at T2. And I agree with you 100%. It's a complicated map. Border requires thinking, it requires cohesion, it requires good grasp of a lot of important aspects, and it's something that Astralis will definitely have an edge in. But we're starting our ban phase now, Crow. Let's see what we got on the board here. A Ying and a Thatcher. Those are some old school bans right there.
Yeah, especially the Thatcher ban, not nearly as common as it once was, considering the EMPs being brought into the game, but Astralis still want to take him out of the equation, and this is interesting. Mira, obviously, very good map for her in Border. But Reality TV are opting to ban Valkyrie, leaving Cade up with no Thatcher. And on Border, there are some really nasty Cade spots, especially in Armory. You can get him through floors and stuff like that. Cade can be a real headache to deal with, and you better make sure those EMPs are going to be on point. But you also got to argue, Border's a map like Villa where there's just so much C4 potential. Is that really worth leaving the Valkyrie up?
Yeah, I think that's the end of the day. I think that's the biggest argument, right? The black eye cameras, they provide so much intel. And I mean, intel wins wars. It wins Rainbow Six Siege matches. It's just absolutely critical to have that. And you mentioned the sea floors and stuff like that. Also a huge deal on a map that does require quite a bit of verticality, right? Like, we talk about Armory and lockers. It's kind of the go-to primary site. It's where we're going to start now. But once you're off of this, you're in a match where verticality is absolutely critical. And I think the Kaid, as much as he is probably the strongest hard breach denier, I think that there are not as many sites here where his hard breach denial is absolutely critical as something that you have to deal with, if that makes sense. It's bad here on Armory in particular, I think, but some of these other sites, I don't think it's going to be as huge of an issue. So I do agree with the idea of the Valkyrie ban.
So if we want to, like I said, go over the whole name conundrum real quick, we'll look over towards, well, I'll cover Reality TV real quick. Ana de Armas.100T. That's not actually Ana de Armas. I'm sorry to disappoint everyone in Twitch chat. That's Hat. That's Hat. Astralis Forest is the only one with an actual name. If Forest wasn't Forest, I think I would have an aneurysm. Shadow is iconic. Simon Riley is Shuttle. Jack, obviously, J90. And JD Hog is the new pickup of Spip. So, you got all that, Corbeck? You're going to remember?
No,
You're
but,
not going to get it wrong once this entire map?
It's like taking a test when you don't know any of the answers. But I'll figure it out as we go along here. But we're hopping into the action now. The entry already been made. Of course, we talked about those more old school offense bans right there. Does leave Nook, the Danish demon, on the board, who has increasingly risen in prominence. And you can see it's already being taken full advantage of here on Astralis. A good amount of penetration, coming right there off the top. Wamai kind of playing out of CCTV, just waiting to see if anybody will move in. And this is great progress, actually, that is being made here on the side of Astralis for very little effort.
And Wamai is going to get caught off guard as they start to sneak up. Spiff's going to get that opening frag. Well, not really an opener, actually. An immediate trade after Forest went down. But everyone on Reality TV just dies as soon as I finish that sentence. And yeah, we saw they were having some server issues. We'll see if we end up going to a rehost or just a pause. Or it says no.
Well, that's yeah, we'll see, I guess, how that plays out. And yeah, sure enough, we are going to go deal with those server issues. I mean, I'm gonna I'm gonna take that. What happened right there? I'll put that in the box of server issues. Everybody gets one, because if it wasn't server issues, that's the worst possible way that reality TV could have started that one off. I ain't kidding. I mean, you saw the amount of penetration that they got, right? They basically got almost a quarter of the map for free. There was no real contest. It didn't feel at any point in time that it was particularly challenging for them to make the entries that they were making. And then, just like that, like there's SEAL Team 6 or something, everybody dies.
Yeah, one of the big parts about holding CC that we've seen from a lot of teams is at least an East stairs or balcony presence or someone pushed kind of outside of office. Reality TV had that, but Astralis dealt with it so quickly that the CC guy didn't have time to really react. Because of the break door being open, the constant drone and constant pressure, he was never allowed to fall back. That Iana, who I think was Spiff, I like to check the Twitch stream. It was Spiff, was able to really easily just sneak up on that balcony, kill the Wamai for free. I think Iconic ended up sneaking into office and taking down the 2 players held there, and everyone just got crushed, right? It was 2 for Iconic, 1 for Spiff, and 2 for whoever Flores was. Not Flores. They didn't have a Flores.
They did not have a Flores. No,
was it Shuttle?
It's okay.
I don't remember. The names get confusing.
It's a blink in the life of
too.
One instant.
I barely had time to read the kill feed before it was all over, but not a great sign for reality TV. Like you said, maybe it was server issues. It is only round 1, but Astralis, showing that they know what to do on this map.
I think that's the big takeaway, right? Like, even if we put aside the server issues, like I said, it's still a pretty cohesive, decisive push there from Astralis, where you made a good case. I mean, they just they took out the elements that they needed to. They moved in how they needed to. And the gunfights were a little ugly as well. I mean, we talked about the Iana Wamai gunfight that was right near, CCTV office. Ugly, right? Like, it was perhaps slightly disadvantaged towards the Wamai, but I think that was theoretically winnable, and it didn't look good. There's only so much, though, that we can really make cash out of one sort of abortive round, if we're being honest with ourselves. So it's a little hard to draw sort of sweeping conclusions from what happened right there, all things considered.
Yeah, again, round number 1, not too much we can glean from it. Reality TV still have plenty of time to try and adjust that strategy. Hopefully, maybe more presence in that top east, maybe kind of balcony area. You're definitely right, though. I think the Wamai had a chance to win that fight, especially if he swung just a little bit earlier. But you could tell he didn't really have any info, thanks to the Valkyrie ban that Astralis not even Astralis played into, that reality TV banned themselves, that Astralis then played against really well. I'm going to keep my eyes focused on Iconic too, because it's not often that we see a Nook up on any map, really, in the entire pool. She's banned so often, but because we have Ying and Thatcher off the board, that Nook is going to be an extremely large presence, especially because border is so small. The advantage to Nook on a big map like a Villa or Bank is like you could just be on the other side of the map from the defense and then sneak your way around. The advantage of Nook on a small map is if that initial entrance is clear, you can be on a cutoff or even sneakily pushing site in like the first 45 minute and a half.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you mentioned that Nook aspect, because I was totally going to bring that up if you did it. It's a really impactful operator on border, like actually kind of scarily impactful. So that's one to watch and just sort of see how they develop the play. And you got the feeling from what you saw on that last round that they intended to use that Nook and build off of it. And again, you can see that Iconic is picking it one more time, to go back into it. It's interesting to see the switch too. I mean, Iconic played so much Dokkaebi. I think it was Dokkaebi almost every single attacking round, bar one in their last matchup, coming in now playing straight into the Nook, and I mean looking relatively comfortable and confident, as you would expect on that. But we'll run it again. You're swapping down now to a lower floor bomb site. That means verticality is going to come into this big. You see the castle being pulled out here to do a little bit of restructuring of the map. There's put some delays in there. Interestingly enough, I mean, they'll have the ability to walk off some of those castle barricades. You look, namely, it's going to be, I think, Shuttle right there on that Ash, who's really going to be responsible for that. Not a lot of other operators in that lineup who can easily deal with the castle barricades, though, so it might be an surprisingly impactful round from Valor sitting on the castle.
Yeah, that breaching round, accompanied, of course, though, by Gons. You have a Gon 6 on Bug and the Gon 6 on the Dokkaebi, so if they want to use those for castle barricades, they definitely have the opportunity to, but, you know, that's another, not necessarily issue, but just something you have to adjust when you're playing a Buck instead of a Sledge, is that if the opponent is playing Castle, Castle's slightly stronger because, you know, the Sledge has 25 uses, the Gon just one. They'll start to push in towards where Hat is positioned. There's a drone on him. The wall being opened by the Buck. Hat taking in some shots, dealing a significant amount of damage to Iconic, and actually able to get away despite it looked like an angle being opened from the window. Spiff comes into support on that Nook, so Astralis got the control, but they do eat some damage.
It's interesting. Again, they took a little bit of damage, but so much space given up, right? This is what I was talking about on the last match as well. Already, Astralis has made a pretty big foothold here in this map and will continue to push forward. That's a fun little claymore right there, by the way, from Forrest to just catch anybody who tries to rotate around behind him. You got to appreciate the effort, but it's Giddy who strikes early and strikes hard. That is JD Hogg, who was, I believe, Spiff getting taken out right there. Forrest, though, delivering it right back the opposite direction, takes Hat out of the mix, and here comes an absolute shoot fest for a second. Mr. B grabs one, and then Iconic grabs another. The diffuser is down, and look at the speed, the pacing of this Astralis team.
We talked about the verticality on this site being so important, but Reality TV, despite not being pushed, couldn't make the best of it, but the frags are coming in, trying on this retake. Mr. B and Valor chime in for a kill apiece, leaving J90 upstairs with that hatch control, but immediately domed by Tristan, covering and expecting it, hearing the Dokkaebi break the barricade and rappel on in. A beautiful retake from Reality TV.
Wow. That was great responsiveness there by Reality TV. Astralis kind of went into, I would almost call a sort of shock and awe mode right there and just sort of beasted their way onto the point, which is something that I was sort of expecting them to do once they had the setup in place, right? Reality TV, incredibly adaptive. And I think that there was a little bit of a lack of vertical clear right there as well, Crow, that made that, I would say, significantly more difficult for them to do what they needed to do, like Astralis to do, protect that diffuser. We saw a kill from the vertical, so I'm not sure what the sort of attempted almost short circuit hot wire of that site was supposed to be, but they did pay for it in the long run.
Well, what they did was they planted, I think, on the so the hatch is on if we're facing from workshop office into bathroom. The hatch is on the far side of that single panel wall that our beautiful observer Nova is highlighting. So they planted on the inside of it. I think they figured, hey, you know what? If we just have all that horizontal control, they don't have info on the plant, it's virtually free because of that angle, right? There's not a lot of space on the other side of that hatch to move, so it can be difficult to get the exact wall bang down. But because they left that vertical clear, Reality TV were able to rotate back really efficiently. Mr. B coming from those east stairs, getting two kills, in fact, towards that blue office, and Reality TV having the benefit of just dropping the hatch and then being 5 feet away from the diffuser.
Exactly right. And it's funny, when I turned it over to you there on the diffuser, I thought we were kind of seeing the death of Reality TV. Instead, they just came right back on it, like they knew exactly what they had to do. So as much as we were talking about the communication and coherency differences between these two tiers of play, great response there from Reality TV. Now they might have to do it again, a lot more emphasis on the verticality from them one more time, and it's gonna sort of behoove Astralis to work their way around this and find sort of the best way to crack this. I'm taking a look here too. I mean, you've obviously got access to the Roteros, which are a super valuable piece of util. They've only used one of them so far, and Shuttle, I'm sure, will be happy to bring those in, but can they bring them in support? Spiff, again, sort of the leading edge, as you would expect, already pushing in and already detected on this push, so gonna need all the cover they can get at this particular moment as they see that shield there as well.
It's going to get flushed out by the nade. Impact at the ready to assist as well, but he's not even going to need it. Spiff goes down to Hat, still playing in Fountain despite not having a shield. The reinforcement being opened up too is going to prompt Hat to get aggressive, catch the attack off guard, and get another kill for himself. Dangerous proposition for Shuttle as well, considering he's below half HP. Mr. B still has control of CCTV as well because Astralis haven't been pushing it, but just as I say that, he goes down. I think a long shot from Iconic. It sounded like the suppressed FMG. Yeah, rattling peeling away, getting him through those head holes into break room, but he's not dead yet, and Valor's the doc. If he can sneak himself into a position to res Mr. B, he'll have full HP. The nade gets caught, and so does Iconic. 2 kills now for Hat, but he can't find a third as Forrest and Shuttle get one apiece. Giddy refrags, keeping the man advantage for his team. Tristan gets caught looking the other way, and it's back to a 2 versus 2. Valor lit up, but of course he is Doc, and now he's alone, but there's nothing he can do against J90. Astralis retake the lead.
Tell you what, these rounds are brutal, huh? That's a lot of gunfighting right there, and a bit of a struggle actually from the side of Astralis to clear out some of those defensive positions. But when they got to it and they started winning the gunfights, good some moves right there that were quite classy. I mean, coming around the backside on Archives, absolutely baiting the kill right there. I did, by the way, love the placement of the Wamai disc. So calculated to catch Shuttle on that one. I can't help but feel like that was 100% intentional. So credit where credit is due. But I'll be honest with you, that top floor, the primary bomb site, just not building effectively for Reality TV. They don't like it, bro.
I was gonna say too that I like Reality TV's adjustment of playing Mr. B farther back in CCTV, not putting any utility on top east, considering, you know, if Astralis are gonna be that good at taking it, we might as well not waste the resources, keep it towards Fountain, Office, and Site. Yeah. So I liked the idea from Reality TV. They just lost the trade game despite Hat getting 2. He went 2 for 1. I think Mr. B maybe over peaking by CC and going down really affected that as well. I'm thinking maybe Valor tried to get in a position to res, but considering he was in small, maybe not. Either way, Astralis just showing the pure refragability of an NAL team. And Reality TV are... I hope they don't touch that site again unless they have to. After this round, Bathroom will unlock again, so I'm hoping to see that brought out one more time. Maybe even a customs defense, because Armory just hasn't been working.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that I think you legitimately have to start talking about if you lose 2 rounds on Armory. And, I mean, that was close, right? So a little frustrating, but the other wasn't too close at all, as we see Shuttle sending the first of those Reteros forward. And this is what I want to see, a little bit of focus on this top floor, something that I felt was lacking in one of their earlier pushes, the one that they, the round that they could not pull off the win. A lot of pressure being applied on the CCTV office side, though. That's interesting. Big stack up right there, despite Shuttle dropping and the Reteros on the other side. So maybe just a little bit of misdirection being applied right now, and a good drone out here of CCTV gives them some clear space, kill. But Tristan strikes early and takes down Forrest, the 4-2 fragger on the side of Astralis. That's not how they wanted to start this round.
They finally promoted him to Zoe after getting this many kills after the rehost, but he's going to fall first thanks to Tristan. I can't lie, I don't know where that kill even came from. I think below. Because I saw Tristan by Customs earlier. I think he had floor holes, and unfortunately Astralis were unaware of it. Giddy chimes in with a kill for himself as well onto Iconic before he's immediately traded. But he goes 1 for 1. His Capcan traps are already out. He's done his job, and now the alibi of Hat. He's feeling the pressure, and he darts away just in time before Spiff is able to get himself into Armory and complete the pinch with Shuttle. What is advantageous for Astralis, though, is that they still have over a minute, and those hatches are open for them.
They've wasted plenty of time here. It's really gone well for Reality TV. Like, they're pretty much equal at this point in time. The kill disadvantage, I don't think, harms Astralis all that much, just based on their ability to really put in good gun skill. But a short drone right there, opening up some more holes in the floor. It's a little ugly to see Retero used for that, but if it works, it works. The yellow pings are coming out here as well to give them an idea of what lurks below as they start to build up for the final aspect of the attack. And this is where Astralis looks incredibly dangerous. I mentioned their speed and pacing before. Let's see how they do when they execute. They already start in fine fashion, drop straight in, and that's Hat off the board.
Perfect use of the info there from Spiff. Mid-drop headshot. One of the players from the defense looking up towards that hatch, trying to get a freebie. In comes Shuttle, and Mr. B's left unchecked. Spiff now painfully aware of the Malusi's position, but the time is ticking down. 10 seconds left. Easy kill for Mr. B, leaving J90 alone. 7 seconds, and it's 3 for the British. Round 4 goes the way of Reality TV, and they tie the score back up.
Oh, Mr. B, the rock of the team right there, holding out in that bathroom, will not be denied. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I was hyping up Astralis on their speed and their execution. That looked more like panic than anything else at certain points right there. I mean, coming over the lip of the drop, not really checking to see what was awaiting them. And then you saw as well sort of full sprinting into that corner by bathroom. And Mr. B, I mean, they had to have known that Mr. B was waiting in that position. So I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, except for, you know, the sixth defender, the time crunch coming in big. And Reality TV, I mean, they're holding their weight here, right? This is not turning into a runaway by any sense of the word. You get the feeling that Astralis, I mean, I'm not ready to say that they're, you know, struggling or anything like that, but they might be a little bit discombobulated right now. I don't know if they expected this to go maybe easier than it has or what have you, but the 2 rounds that Reality TV have won have been, in my opinion, sort of fairly decisive. Like, they really are quite commanding in the way that they're playing this defense and the way that they're adapting to what Astralis is showing them.
Yeah, the 2 rounds Reality TV have won. The past one, a lot more convincing. The previous one, it was post-plant, so they definitely had the disadvantage, but the retake was spectacular.
It was great.
Astralis, the most dominant round by far, was that round number 1, which is why I'm not terribly worried for them. Yes, round 3 came really close thanks to those trades, but they started in a 3 versus 5 and still brought it back. So it was a fantastic recovery. So we'll have to see what happens going into the last 2 rounds of this half. And if Reality TV win 1 more, though, as this game has been going really back and forth, they should be scheduled to, you know, in the last round of the half. If they get that 3-3 split, that's pretty good for them, considering Border, according to conventional knowledge, and especially when it first came out, seemed to be more attacker-sided.
Right.
Reality TV definitely looking for that 3rd round.
Yeah, a 3-3 would be great for them on the defensive side. And I mean, God forbid they were able to get a 4-2 in there as well. Good adaptation, by the way, I would say, playing this, playing Iconic on the sledge now. They have kind of wised up to the idea that Valor does like to play castle. And you can see those castle barricades sort of dividing the map. And it's kind of being used as the plug line here for Reality TV. That's their defensive sort of bastion. And I love Castle for this reason, because you can see what he's forcing Astralis to play around a little bit awkwardly, but they're making it work. This is a good push, trying to get some openings here. It's not working, though. Tristan already taking out Spiff. That's a bad way to go. Forrest trying to get aggressive and hold a different angle right here and open up some more holes with these Selma charges. Just get an idea of what he can possibly do, but Tristan's waiting. Beautiful headshot there onto Forrest. Shadow evening it back up with a grenade, but not enough, I think, to really count in the long run. Valor will slip in underneath that and prepare the super shotty for anyone who comes through that door.
Shuttle eating some damage long range too, thanks to the DMR of Giddy Tristan. Now a 3rd, getting so aggressive in Archives, knowing he can play for his life, and a quad kill for Tristan. A hell of a game the first time we saw him, and he's looking to continue that success. J90 alone left to pick up the pieces downstairs, wondering what the hell happened to his roam clear, and he can't do anything against the SMG-11 of Hat. Reality TV, for the first time this game, string 2 in a row and take the lead.
Great round from them. Good confidence boost as well right there, if we're being honest. Tristan on fire. And this is, you know, we talked about 2 star players going into the start of this. One of them was Shuttle, who's playing under the tag Simon Riley. The other was Tristan. Shuttle 1 in 4 right now. Tristan not 1 in 4, right? Like, really, he got a quad kill, looks spectacular. And in a kind of a matter of comparing linchpins right now, I think I would know which one I would rather have right on my team at this particular moment in time. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be an opportunity here for Shuttle to kind of battle back in, but has not been that really high power presence performance that he was in match number 1 for Astralis, and they desperately need it, I think, right? They need someone they can kind of build across. You cannot be giving up a 4K to Tristan right there. Like, you just cannot allow yourself to walk into those gun lines. And I mean, I'll appreciate the things that Astralis was doing. They were trying to set up different fire angles. Forrest kicking out on the flank, specifically looking, you know, to catch someone, to create maybe a little bit of pinch right there. But I just don't think you can get by with that kind of stuff against a player who's obviously like, you know, on a heater, right? They're in their prime sort of thing. You got to be really careful in how they're going to handle this and how they want to try and isolate these defenders.
Yeah, you can never underestimate a guy like Tristan, or really anyone that ends up, you know, winning Challenger League undefeated. And I'm not worried that that's the case for Astralis, especially, you know, knowing guys like Forrest and Call Out for and casting them for so long. Call Out is a fantastic coach. He's definitely not going into this thinking, oh, you know, they're just a CL team, they're going to be easy. They're trying to make the most of these games while to, you know, try to get Spiff acclimated to the roster, while at the same time not trying to reveal too much ahead of SI. But they're definitely, you know, trying to take the game seriously and trying to win. So again, you know, we can't really discredit Reality TV here. Astralis, they're an NAL team. They're trying to win, and they're doing fantastic. But they're going to Armory for the third time. This is a great chance for Astralis to end the half 3-3.
Yeah, it is a really great chance for Astralis to end the half 3-3. This has just weighed them down. This bomb site has not been good. And ooh, red ping coming out right there on the Lion. Whoopsie daisy. Got a little too excited right there. It happens to the best of us. Happens to me all the time, and I'm definitely not the best of us. Thorn going off right there nearly catches Spiff looking. I think that was a bit of a surprise, but no big deal. Able to avoid it easily enough. A little bit of a sound cue as well as they begin to get a look at the defensive setup here that Reality TV is presenting, and it doesn't seem on first blush particularly different from what we saw from some of those earlier rounds. And already Astralis is starting to build up the structure that they want to see right here to kind of initiate one sort of super push, and this has been basically their strategy on this site before. They'll build and build and build until everybody's in the right position, and they'll just start to go. Hat trying to challenge it out a little bit, but forced back there by the flash grenades, and there's your first kill. Spiff absolutely wipes Mr. B.
They get the opening pick, but the time is under 1 minute, and they haven't fully taken CCTV because Giddy's still just tucked in this corner, playing around his Kivas. He doesn't have any more in pocket, and Spiff is just going to get out of dodge. Doesn't want to challenge it. They know Hat's out of Fountain, so this map control is ripe for the picking. They'll start to stun in, dump utility into this site. In comes Iconic as Giddy gets his kill in CCTV, bringing down Forrest, equalizing the man count. The swing in from the Oryx, successful. Actually, a trade to bring down the Nook, but Giddy getting a little too overzealous, caught sprinting in CCTV. The man count now belongs to this attack. The nade right on top of Valor. It will insta-kill him, and now it's left up to Hat. He's got one, but can't find the last two. And just like I said, 3-3 at the half. Reality TV cannot defend this upstairs site.
Just cursed. I don't know what it is. I don't know what mummy they offended. Something. They just cannot win on Armory. So they got closer that time, or at least it felt like they were getting closer, but Reality TV not able, I think, to kind of match the Astralis gun skill in those specific situations. And I mean, again, I do feel the Reality TV, obviously you said it, right? They're punching above their weight here. It's an NAL team that's a spectacular first half, if we're being honest with ourselves. Attacker-sided map. You walk out of it with a 3-3. You cannot be unhappy about that performance. At the very least, right, you're putting Astralis on the back foot, but I think it's going to be a bit of a curiosity to see how Astralis sort of plays on the defensive side here. I would expect them to come out of this relatively aggressive, right? Play off the fact that they arguably have, for the most part, the better gun skill over the Reality TV side, and really apply that. But that's kind of a mixed bad. Maybe a double-edged sword is a better word for it, right? Because if you get too aggressive on the defense, it does make it significantly easier for Reality TV to get those cutoffs and sort of find defenders out of position and bring them down. So this first round, for me, that's what I'm looking for. I really want to see how Astralis pace themselves in terms of aggression.
I also like how they're not defending Armory first.
Yes, valid.
Maybe
Nobody wants to go there.
Maybe seeing how easy it was for them to take and figuring, you know what, maybe site's not such a good idea. I like the operator lineup, though, considering this is great. Workshop. You got to hold upstairs. What better operators to try and delay this attack other than Mozzie and Mute? Add a cap can to boot. Maybe they won't have the info and walk into those EDDs. The Pulse as well. Staring at Valor, sees him sitting still, and what a call from the Pulse.
Beautiful.
Force runs out AC, claps the Zoe, Hat follows, and it's an early 5v3 for the defense.
So something that you would notice in Astralis' earlier game as well, their ability to communicate, like their call outs and their intel gathering is superb. It's really strong. And you can see that being played to its full effect right there. I mean, that was the perfect setup. And that's why you bring the Pulse, right? Because the Pulse is such a good intel operator at the end of the day. And Iconic can provide so much to the team just from holding that position. Less than a minute in, and you already set up a 3 to 5 advantage for yourself on the defense. Absolutely spectacular bit of play right there. So I'm curious now to see how they continue to play off of it. Keep in mind too, they obviously have the Mozzie coming out of Spiff. They've got that whole area of intel we haven't even really gotten a chance to see yet. So this is going to be, I think, a challenge for Reality TV to play together, but most importantly, to play around a significant disadvantage when it comes to the kind of info war game that has to be played in every Siege match.
And the upstairs control they've got now that the roamers have fallen back isn't necessarily a huge advantage either, because look, there's a Pulse.
Yep.
Every single member of the defense is bringing a C4. There's only 3 left. And wait, no, hold on. I think 2 are pre-placed. Look at the overlay at the top right. 3 in pocket. I think 2 are pre-placed. Yep. There's one right there. So every single C4 is still up for this defense. And if Giddy wants to do any work, he's going to have to be really careful. You see him running around, careful about those nitro cells. Doesn't want to stand still for too long, but the more he runs around, the more time he wastes. With Mr. B and Tristan kind of on the other side of the map, having to deal with this extended hold in through customs. Giddy now eating damage, but getting the kill onto Spiff. So he brings 1 back for his team. That makes it slightly easier for Reality TV. In walks Tristan, immediately killed by Forrest, traded back by Mr. B, and another! Wow! Brilliant shot from the Lion. We're equal. 20 seconds left, no more Pulse. Still 2 C4s from the defense, though, if they're in position to use it. J90 is across the map right now, fighting with these attackers, tussling, as Mr. B just walks his way in the sight. He's got to take this fight and win it, but loses it to Shuttle. Such low time. C4 goes out onto that case to try and stall this fuck. He gets one. Giddy's got to go for the second. The time is so low, but J90 catches him in the sprint, and Astralis go back up by 1 round.
Oh, it would have been such an amazing redemption moment for Giddy right there if he had been able to pull that off. Honestly, doing so much better than that last 2-9 match that we mentioned. Just, I mean, on, really helping the team. And I'm going to say on fire, not quite there yet, but he's smoldering. He's smoldering. It just hasn't caught, but a great effort to pull that together at the tail end by Reality TV. I mean, coming back from a 3v5, right? We talked about Astralis doing something similar. Reality TV also delivering a spectacular performance there in a very difficult situation. And I mean, the irony of all those nitro cells and all that intel advantage, I don't think we saw a single nitro cell death. On that entire defense. I don't even think we saw a nitro cell go off.
Nope.
I was listening for it, so maybe I missed it, but
before they went out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, all the guys that had them pre-placed died, and the Pulse died. And then, yeah, the only C4 we saw like actively get ripped was the Mutes, but he didn't end up detonating it, so.
10 seconds left.
Unfortunate when you plan for a strategy like that and you're not able to execute it. And I mean, they had the opportunities as well. They had a good sense of, I think, where they were on that top floor, but just weren't really able to pull it off. But that's in the past. Let's look ahead now to round number 8, just kicking off right here. Love the Rook Doc combo, right? The GIGN boys getting some love, and it's a strong combo. It provides a lot of survivability to the Astralis side, and I think something they can definitely take significant advantage of when it comes to the sort of shooty matchups. And a lot of these rounds have turned into very shooty affairs, just back and forth on both sides. Good, by the way, air jab placement by Mr. B. If you're going to get run out on by anyone, it's going to be a team like Astralis, and it's very tempting to try and catch players in this position here, kind of rappelling up to the balcony to just catch them and bring them down. Let's see, though, if the curse of Armory extends to Astralis, or whether they've got the right voodoo to get around it here, Crow.
Yeah, we talk about expecting Astralis to have the better gun skill considering they're an NAL team and all, but look at the scoreboard real quick.
You're right.
The rounds that Reality TV have won have been, on average, significantly more dominant than Astralis, but the fact of the matter is, doesn't matter how many kills you get in the round if you don't win it. Something Reality TV can maybe start acting upon. You know, they've got these kills. They just haven't been closing out rounds, but this is a great start. Taking out Spiff in that hallway, Hat will get our leadoff kill in this round rather early on too, before the halfway mark. They'll end up droning out this smoke as well. J9O playing an aggressive smoke with the FMG9, playing to waste time rather than deny plant, not able to hit any shots onto Hat, gassing off his window and looking to stall out this attack.
Actually love this defensive positioning right here. Very solid, tucked up in the corner, has 2 more smoke canisters to work with, and you're just trying to edge peek as best as you can to get a headshot right there, but they push from the other side, didn't pay enough attention. Valor rips 2. Beautiful opportunity right there for Valor. Mr. B does go down, but you set yourself up with a 4-2, less than a minute left in the round, and this perfectly good territory here for Reality TV. Astralis trying their best to even it up, but Tristan now getting involved. Great bit of play right there, though, from Shuttle to keep this as even as possible. Throws down the C4 around the diffuser. That's nasty, but they'll still manage to pick it up right there. So a complex 2v1 here to end this round. It's Giddy and Tristan versing off, and they don't even need to worry. Tristan catches Shuttle at the top of the stairs and shuts him down. And another great round for Reality TV.
Shuttle, though, what an attempt. The perfectly timed flank to get 2 kills. And then, I mean, well, not kill, but get 1 kill, drop the case, and distract a good portion of that attack, which allows Forrest to come in and get that 2nd kill. Unfortunately, Forrest caught through the rotate, but man, after Shuttle hit that disgusting shot onto, I think it was Valor, over by the corner outside, and threw that C4 out, I thought it may have been round over, but the case was on a hard floor. And with the new change, with having to press a button to pick it up, you can kind of long arm it. So he wasn't really in any danger of getting blown up in the first place, but really solid attempt from Shuttle. But I love what Reality TV did. They were on top of their info, and they were really sneaky. Not something we see a lot from an attack on border, especially from people who aren't Nook. You know, that was like, what, Iana and Zoe? Really sneaky. Getting under Astralis' skin there to tie up the score once again. And like I said, right, I think Reality TV might have a shot at winning this round. Astralis definitely the favorites, but just looking at this, I'm expecting at the very least overtime.
It's entirely possible. I think we should legitimately consider that something that could happen right here. Whoa, Shadow. Okay. A little bit bold since there were bullets there, but
I think that was his
Forrest
teammate.
and him, they know what
Forrest
they're
opening
doing.
the
Yeah.
barricade.
Just a little scary. I wouldn't want to get that close to bullets if it was me, but I'm also not a Pro League player, so what can I say?
Sure, Iconic's different.
He very much is. Bravery. Good little bit of rush play here as well, based around the glass. They'll get one for the glass.
God.
Valor again coming up on the top rope. Are you kidding me? How is he pulling this off? Great bit of play by Iconic to bring it back on the other side. And Iconic now trying to right the ship. The diffuser is down. And this is a scary situation here for the defenders to battle back in on this. And Giddy picks up one more.
That's probably the game-winning kill there from Giddy. Reality TV, despite losing that opening pick, playing around the rush really well, especially the coverage from Hat, getting a kill on the glass, using that smoke perfectly. Valor timing the hopping upstairs to grab 2 kills, and that kill from Giddy, sneaking around, playing the lurk, striking at very opportune time, leaving Forrest in an almost unwinnable 1v2. One had top floor control. One was playing passive outside the window. In that plant spot, you got to hit some nasty shots. You got to, you know, every clutch comes down to a little bit of luck. Probably would have taken quite a bit to win that. And Reality TV turn the match on its head once again and take that lead.
It is a slugfest here on border, and massive props to Reality TV calling that, you know, kind of a rush right there with the glass, right? That takes guts, in my opinion. It generally takes guts to run that into a, you know, an NAL team, and they did a spectacular job of it too. And there was a moment there where it looked like Astralis could possibly have wrenched that back, but it's something that you had actually talked about previously, Crow, the sneakiness, right? Like the ability from these Reality TV members to just be in unexpected places. First it was Valor popping off right there from the same window, by the way, that he caught out the smoke last time. And then I believe it was Giddy who was just in the right place at the wrong time for the defenders. It's really interesting how reality TV is pulling that off. And I mean, I spent some time early in this match opining about the fact that Astralis seemed to be winning the information war, but in these last couple of rounds, it really feels like it's shifted, and I don't actually necessarily have a good explanation for why that's happening. By the way, love the placement of that goo mine right there by the Legion. I feel like J90 is worried about that window. I can't imagine why.
Yeah, do you think maybe they're learning? Maybe they're adjusting.
They're learning. They'll be opening doors next. Good God.
I'm excited to see what happens with reality TV now taking the lead. Getting that 2 in a row again after Astralis were able to tie it back up. And going back downstairs. So, reality TV, last time they had to attack on the workshop, kind of got smoked by the info denial, which is why Astralis are going to bring it again. Add that Legion of Melusi to boot for even more delay power. But reality TV, I mean, you know, they're still a Challenger League team. They're not in Pro League yet, but they still adapt. They're still adaptable. And I'm worried that maybe running this info denial combo isn't going to catch them off guard again, and reality TV are going to know what to do.
I think reality TV do know what to do. I mean, the Legion is here, I think, to prevent those kind of sneaky kills that we were talking about. But, you know, it's just one operator. Valor actually going for that window just one more time. And lightning strikes thrice. I don't know if it's going to work, but they're definitely watching out for maybe the Goobite. I bet they might have an idea as you actually see J90 back up. The Nitro Cell coming out right there a little too early on the detonation, though, won't catch anyone off. And it's the initial push, the attempted trade. Somehow J90 survives a hail of gunfire, and here come the rest of the team to just kind of close down on that fountain position. Valor contributing as well, takes a little bit of damage, looks the wrong way, and J90 is stalling it out, but only momentarily. Tristan shuts that kill down post-haste. Tristan picking up another one, and deliverance once again in the form of Tristan.
The nade now coming in after stunning. They've got the info for Tristan, assisted by Mr. B. And they're hunting down this last remaining player upstairs. It's the Azami. Giddy loses the initial fight. We're back to 2-on-2. Iconic's going to keep swinging before backing off, worried about someone at his backside. Mr. B is staring at this angle. He could easily go for another flash play, but Tristan's out of nades, watching the walk-up, knowing Spiff might come upstairs to assist. Remember, the bomb site is downstairs. Spiff doesn't need to come up here as long as this Azami can continue to waste time. Reality TV are thinking about just dropping in, figuring that the Azami being upstairs might be their opportunity, and that's what Mr. B is going to do. He jumps on in, but doesn't see the Mozzie, and that's a freebie for Spiff. Tristan's got a clutch. He's got an ace. He's got 4 dropping in. Spiff isn't looking at the hatch, but now he is. He's watching it. Only 1 HP for Tristan. In he comes. The Mozzie avoids the shots for now, and they trade the ace for Tristan, but the win for Astralis.
Oh my lord! The highest highs and the lowest lows right there, Crow. Can you imagine getting an ace and it doesn't win you the round? Oh. Be still my beating heart. Honestly, be still my beating heart. That was insane. Man. What a round from reality TV and Astralis. Both of them played out of their minds here for us tonight on SCS. Not what I expected to see at all from these two teams, and this punch back and forth counter punch. I absolutely love it. And man, Tristan, we talked about him at the start of the broadcast. Just beautiful, amazing play. Got a quad kill earlier, picks up the ace right there. Deserved that round from the way he played it. Don't want to take it away, you know, from I believe it was Spiff who was holding it down, did a spectacular job to handle that situation as well. But you gotta feel for Tristan right there.
Yeah, that's sad. Especially, I mean, if he wasn't 1 HP. If he wasn't 1 HP, he wins that, but the fight upstairs really doing its wonders. And that's another reason why I think sometimes the HP factor in Siege is a little bit understated, because it really changes how you play. You're not going to play the same on full HP versus 1 HP. Your team isn't going to play around you the same if you're that lit up, especially depending on what the defense is doing, whether they're swinging aggressively, playing off C4s, you know, playing up against a Smoke or a Goyo, stuff like that. And eating away at your opponent, chipping away that damage. Unless they're perfect with the headshots, it's eventually going to come into play like we just saw. But Reality TV might be gearing up for another window play. There's no Legion to stop them. They've got the Glaz, they got the Capitao, they've got smokes, they've also got 6 nades for whatever reason. And you can hear them start to go in. The peek from Shuttle gonna get lit up. Mr. B's already in for the plant. Nades going out to stop these defenders from swinging as well. Is this gonna work again? Giddy and Tristan each find one apiece, but J90 chimes in, denies the plant from that hatch, gets Valor as well, the upstairs player that was so pivotal, and this pushes at a standstill.
And that, unfortunately, is I think maybe where this attack dies. It's awfully hard to rotate out of situations like that. And you see, I believe, one of the defenders lurking on that window that has been so favored by this Reality TV team. Tristan right there, difference maker that they could need in this situation. Spiff trying to set it up here as well. So they've got the intel. Tristan doesn't know. They don't know about Tristan. And he steps in, and that's 2 quick kills and put away what I said about that being the end of the attack. Reality TV can't get their grip the first time, just bites in another place and bites down hard.
They just push that upstairs and go the fight from the Glaz. Hat's already got, I think, 3 kills total. Make that 4! Oh my god! Is this guy Slash Hug? Hat 4 kills as Glaz on border to give Reality TV match point.
I cannot even believe what I'm seeing sometimes. There are so many teams in that situation, Crows. So many teams in all levels of gameplay where if your initial push had failed that, resoundingly because you lost your planter and you couldn't get to the bomb, the panic would set in, the ability to adapt would just not be there. Reality TV handling that just about as close to perfect as you possibly can. It's hard for me to imagine a significantly better adaptation than what they provided with us. And some of those wounds, a little self-inflicted. Astralis, for example, defending the window up there, no idea where Tristan is, right? They just didn't even hear it. And you see someone pull off a flank like that, and you do have to wonder, okay, you were doing so well earlier, what's kind of gone wrong? It almost makes me think you're just slightly tempted to bring the Legion back just because that worked. It actually slowed down some of these kind of hellish mid-round flank appearances that are being made by the members of Reality TV, but they sit on match point against Astralis right now. I can't even imagine how huge of a W this would be if they're able to pull this off. I want him to get the dub.
Oh my god. And oh no. They're going back to bathroom. Okay, but let me defend them. Because Reality TV haven't pushed it normally though. They've rushed twice. They cannot rush a third time. Like that would just be absurd. And
is that a challenge?
I mean, they're not setting up for it right now. They've got a normal lineup, of course, with attacker repick. There's still plenty of time to rework it if they find out it's bathroom, but it's still just there's just that little bit of doubt in my mind because even though it's not a rush, they still won this site twice. But Mr. B is on Sledge. They're doubling Sledge bucks, so they're going to be full clearing this map. At least that's what it makes me assume. Because why else? Why else would you bring a Sledge and buck? So this is going to be the real test of their attack on this site.
Yeah, you made a very, very valid point, and I mean, I can agree 100% with not trying to gamble 3 times on the same idea. It definitely wasn't going to work. The problem is, though, I mean, this is, it's match point, right? So Astralis is walking on a razor's edge here. I don't necessarily think that's a big deal. Like for some teams, I would say that's a huge deal. Not a team like Astralis. They're experienced in these stressful situations. I don't think that's going to be a big issue for them. But the matter at the end of the day is you only need to make 1 or 2 small mistakes in this round, and you can't recover. Right? Like that's entirely possible. I mean, you take a look at the defensive setup they have, and I think it's relatively good for maybe slowing down sort of a full map clear. You've got the castle, might be a little invalidated by the sledge, but you've got a lot of roamers, you got a lot of guns that Reality TV are going to have to make their way through if they really want to set up a convincing attack on the bomb site. And that all I think is really going to benefit them. I mean, look, a minute off the clock already, and I feel like Reality TV doesn't particularly feel comfortable with making entry into the map yet.
rather slow. A whole minute, more than a minute, minute 10. Being burned off the clock.
No way.
Oh, but they've got a ping on someone. Are they just going to shoot him through the floor? Oh, he's tagging up the feet, but he can't kill him. Of course, limbs take different amounts of damage. Unfortunately, just choosing the wrong body part to shoot. He gets him so low, but iconic. I mean, he is that guy. Able to escape like Batman and get healed up by those Kona stations. More damage being done, almost lethal to the Thunderbird, but again, no confirmation from the attack. They'll get damage, but they won't get the opener that they're looking for so desperately.
Now they're pacing still pretty slow, 110 on the round, and they're starting to make their way in. Buried in the corner right here is J90 just waiting. Mr. B drops onto the drone. Oh, he's got to be ready for that, and he is. Great response by Mr. B to catch Forrest off guard. That could have been so bad if it had gone wrong. And you see as well, Hat picking up a kill right there. Shadow falling back, gunfire from multiple angles. Drops the hatch. There's no escape. You just can't get out of it, my man. You literally cannot get away, and here comes Tristan to shut down Shuttle. Is this it? Oh! A valiant effort to hold on. No, Tristan's there. It had to be. Who else at the end of it all?
They did it! Reality TV 2-0. IF and Astralis both down 7-5. We didn't even need OT. They don't need it. 12 rounds is all I need. 19-5 for Tristan. And that doesn't mean that no one else did anything either. Their worst was 6. 2 people with 8 kills. 1 with 9. Tristan, definitely the standout performer. They probably, they might not have won without him, but that's not to say that the rest of reality TV wasn't contributing either. And that's 2 weeks in a row for Tristan. Wait, hold on. Let me check this. Didn't he have 16 kills?
I think so. Yeah, something very close to that.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm flipping back. I'm taking the time to flip back right now. He had 14. He was 14-8. And he was what, 19-5 in this game?
Yeah.
So he's what?
Yeah.
Like 33-13? That is absurd.
Just what a feast of Siege right there. Just amazing. And Tristan, it's so good. I don't know how else to describe it.
Wow.
I mean, it had to be Tristan who got the final kill. Of course it did. He was in the right place, right time, just what they needed. But I mean, you said it yourself. He was a linchpin, but the team worked around him. Like, it wasn't like they all didn't contribute. I mean, look at you see Valor, for example, on the replay, had some huge plays coming out of nowhere to pick up massive kills that absolutely turned the tide of some of these rounds. And this is dream territory for reality TV and SCS. This is what you get into the tournament. You're playing against an NAL team, and this is what you imagine happening. And for them to have pulled it off, I think is a real testament to the strength of the players on this roster.
And I mean, and I love Astralis too. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like, especially because, Iconic, J90, all those guys I casted in T3 Spiff. I cast in T3 Forest. I spent so much time with in T2. I love that. I root for them almost any event they play. But wow, I mean, my mind is blown right now. And may I say, John, Fellow, and I, we're eating good. We're eating good.
You are.
Ferme, I will take my prediction ELO now. We were the only 2 that had faith, and I'm amazed. I can't imagine how the team is feeling. I can't imagine how Fettuccine is feeling. Thank you, Ferme. Thank you. Taco, John, Blue Panda, and I all at the top. I mean, these guys, I can't wait to get to the interview because I'm sure these guys are elated right now.
Oh, it's going to be great. And it's something to really look forward to there. And I mean, you look at the way that they played it. They were adaptable. They were doing such a good job across the board. They hit exactly what they needed to do the entire time, Crow. And I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Yeah,
we can go right to the interview. I'm so excited. I don't know who it's going to be with. Mr. B, Fettuccine. Who's up? Mr. B, Mr. British.
How you doing?
You did it!
Yeah, of course
you did it! IF, right? IF, you've seen him before. You've beat him, but right? Actually, you beat him all 3 times this year, didn't you? So, I mean, that's,
oh, no.
that's, I don't want to insult them, but, light work considering the history. And then
okay.
You come in, you're up against Astralis. I mean, first of all, you go to Border. What's your game plan coming into this game?
play our game, you know? I fully trust myself and my team, right, to play the better game than them. Like, they're an amazing team, right? And I absolutely respect them, but like, I think when it comes down to it, and it's just, you know, both of us running what we know and them running what they know, I think we could come out on top, and that's what we did. We didn't do anything special, but it's kind of
it was definitely a sight to see. I mean, going 3-3 on your defensive half is already pretty good now, but we were a little concerned. You guys went to Armory 3 times and you lost it all 3 times. So first of all, what was the philosophy going back to it the 3rd time, and what do you think the biggest issue with those defenses was?
Well, the 3rd time it was that so the first time we kind of just played it poorly. Did I lose you? Hello?
No, you're just full screen.
Oh, okay, sorry.
While you're talking.
I thought we lost connection.
All good.
No. So the first time, we just kind of played it poorly. Second time, we lost some gunfights we probably shouldn't have. Third time, it was the 3rd time running it, so they just kind of countered us a bit, right? So it's kind of all 3 times, it's just one thing after another. I think strategically, that strat isn't where we want it to be. We'll probably rework that a little bit, you know? Stay tuned. But our workshop just isn't. It's workshop. It's not that strong of a site, so we really didn't want to go back to it for a second time, and we just thought we could, you know, we could fight it out in Armory and make it work, and we almost did, but it didn't quite work out.
Do you really not like custom supply?
Oh, customs is terrible.
Terrible. Because it used to be like, you know, tertiary.
Yeah, it's
maybe,
just
but
all you have to take is CC, right? And the border, the whole way it's played, you play the whole map, right? So that's pretty solid.
That's one of the reasons why I love Border. So shout out to, you know, you and Fettuccine and the guys that do map maps, because Border, I mean, this was probably the best map for this.
Thank you.
And so now moving on to your attacks, right? So first of all, bathroom. You guys brought out almost the same rush, not once but twice.
Well,
I mean,
okay, so they did it the first time. We were planning it. We were like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And then we have drones all around the map, and we see they're like 1,000 miles away from the site. They've got 2 guys in CC, right? It's like we just rushed the site. We're like, okay, well, if they're gonna let us do it again, I guess they're just not expecting us to do it again. So we just did it again. Made a couple changes here and there. But
fair enough. And then of course, you know, the third time they should be prepared, which I think they were. But you guys still played the roam clear beautifully. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think we can talk about Tristan enough. Going 14-8 your first game, and now like what 19-5. I think this game, especially, you know, when we first saw him in CL, I gotta say, at first I was a little bit of a doubter, especially considering, you know, he was kind of on those support roles. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for him to frag out, but man, he's really come into his own, and especially now working in tandem with really competent fraggers like Valor and Hat. I mean, do you think that, you know, no ego, right? Just give it to me straight. Are you guys a team to look out for in SI quals? Do you think you can qualify?
I didn't think that was a question. Yeah, absolutely. No, I like, despite our roster changes and everything, I wouldn't have picked these players up. The whole day 1 of being a team, I said, our goal of this team, this was, you know, 6 months ago. I said, our goal of being on this team is to make a SI and win a SI, right? Not to win CL, not do any of that. So, no, that hasn't changed. I absolutely have faith that we can not only make close, but make invite.
Wow, I love to hear it. Mr. B.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I have faith.
Of course, you know, nothing comes easy in this game. We all know that. But Mr. B, I mean, congrats on the win. You know, you got to be insane to not look at Astralis as inspiration, considering the pedigree they have. I'm sure Fettuccine, you know, the way he looks up to call out in Astralis is hyped as well. So, I mean, congrats again. That was an insane game. Thanks for the show. I mean, I should be the one thanking you. That was incredible. Enjoy the win. Have a great night, man.
You too, man. Have a good one.
You too. And there you have it.
Give me baptized. I'll pay a tithe. I don't know. Sign me up for the church of reality TV.
I was one death
I've got
off.
the faith.
19-6.
You were 1 death
Damn.
off. There's your stats for the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Tristan's amazing performance, but on the side of reality TV, they were doing spectacular across the board. 283% cost, by the way, right there. Tristan and Giddy. Talk about Giddy for a second. We didn't get a chance to mention it very much, Crow, but that guy had a rough game last play day. Look at how great he came back. I'm so happy to see Giddy did so well today.
Absolutely. And not at the cost of anyone else's performance either. Like Valor, you know, went 6-9. It's not as bad as the 2-9 we saw before, but it's still contribution. I mean, how many rounds?
Were critical kills.
Exactly. Like the 2K upstairs on that bathroom rush. Yeah, how many times did we see Valor in a linchpin and end up getting those kills. And another case too that I think we have to highlight, the effort from Astralis, because, you know, even though they're not going 100% hard on the paint with strats, they're still trying to win. They got to save some stuff from SI. They still took 5 rounds, even with none of their players being positive. 4 of them were -2, 1 of them was -5. And I love pointing out stuff like that because it again just goes to show that kills aren't everything in this game. You can have not a single player positive and still, you know, almost go to overtime.
Yeah, and it's very good, and we shouldn't take away from Astralis, like you said.
They still
it wasn't probably their full
really
strats, and they still played spectacular. I mean, it's just a beautiful game. Like, it's genuinely a beautiful game of Siege. It was such a pleasure to watch it.
Absolutely.
Feels rare that you get games that are that exciting. I mean, I was amped, man. Like, I gotta go take a cold shower after this.
The whole game, right? It seemed like every single round was, you know, except for like, you know, we had like 3 or 4 rounds that ended with like 4 people up or whatever. But like every single one, especially the mid rounds when they were about to work through it, where it was nail biting. So I mean, that might be game of the season, but of course we still have plenty to go, and we've still got one more tonight and another very familiar Pro League face we'll be playing. So don't go anywhere. We got another banger just after the break.
On a double